See in this ecosystem that could potentially hurt your company as you try to scale? Or are there any lessons that you might have learned from failed partnerships with companies, co-founders, investors, any of the partnerships that you had to jump into, right? Okada?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the story of how I found those, how I put that founding team together, and I'll also tell you the story how we fell apart. Okay, I put a founding team together. I gave them all, equity, a significant amount of equity, the same amount of equity as I had actually. Even though I put in all the capital, I was still spending. I was on the ground in the business. And I gave them all great salaries. I think I gave each person like $3,000 a month or something. A lot of money. I knew that was a lot, but I was like, okay, whatever. They'll do a good job. They have equity. They'll be motivated. Quickly, I found that, well, not quickly, but I slowly found money was missing, right? And it quickly became apparent to me that, just because you give somebody equity or just because you give somebody a great salary doesn't mean that you can trust them, right? You gotta still be careful. You gotta still put in those processes in place. And I say that with I don't say that in the worst way because yeah, we lost some money, but honestly, those guys that helped start the company, I wouldn't have been here without them, right? So it happened, man. So many ups and downs with that. But yeah, I mean, it's something that always happens with co-founders. Relationships stumble, things happen like that, and it's honestly made me a more knowledgeable investor in Nigeria and a founder, figuring out where all the where all the money can be lost and kind of just tightening it down. But yeah, that's definitely one of the big ones for me at Gokada.
Any barriers? Anything that you think maybe
Yeah.
regulation is one that maybe?
Yeah, so I don't have any stories yet.
Hopefully not.
Exactly. But I think when we try to collaborate, I really try to figure out if it's the right collaboration, if we're adding value. I think, to be honest, and I'm glad you're talking about this, I think it's easy to say collaboration. Like, it's easy. That's the easiest part of collaboration. But when it's time to actually collaborate and do the work, that's when it starts becoming clear that it's not like necessary, or one party is not doing their part. So my sense is that some of the things I learned very early is that like if it's somebody that is bigger than you and you did like once it's not balanced, then maybe you don't need to overdo it. Just do your thing. I know this sounds very counterintuitive, but I think you shouldn't just collaborate for the sake of collaboration. Like, you should collaborate because both of you are exchanging value. So yeah, so I think that principle has really helped us. And yeah.
I'd like to build on that actually. So the idea of kind of doing the work, I think so when we first developed this technology for drip tech, we thought, okay, we have this manufacturing technology, it's this sweet laser machine, we can make the best, lowest cost drip irrigation. We're just gonna license this, and drip irrigation companies are gonna buy it and they're gonna distribute this. And we started looking into it and we realized, well, drip irrigation companies don't know how to make this product. They don't know how to sell this product to this customer in these locations. So, okay, we're going to have to actually use it ourselves, set up our own factory, and we'll make this product, and then we'll give the product to distribution companies. The distribution companies will deal with the customers. And it turned out there weren't distribution companies that really knew how to explain this product and the value of this product and go to the farmer's field and do the installation. And so then, ultimately the end of the story is, me running a company in India with rural sales officers running around on motorcycles selling drip irrigation direct to small farmers, because ultimately you have to kind of do the work. You have to do everything. And when I talk to entrepreneurs, and one of the ways I can tell whether or not they have been involved in something real before is whether they realize how much work it's going to be, or whether they think that they're going to be just like build an app that's like a platform, and I'm going to make this thing, and then I'm going to and then once I make it, then I'm going to sell it to the telcos, and the telcos are going to distribute it. Or like the oil company, they'll figure out how to like get it to customers. These big companies don't know how to get stuff to end users. They can put it on the shelf, but they're not going to sell your product for you. So when you're thinking about like building a company, I don't know, maybe it's good not to know how much work it's going to be. Because maybe then you'd never do it. But I don't know. But when I'm looking at this next opportunity, I think a lot of the opportunities are where people are like, oh, that's too hard, that's too operationally intensive. That's where the opportunities are on actually engaging directly with customers, on doing kind of last mile distribution, on like solving the real problems for the end user. And there's very little value in kind of playing it safe and being like, we're gonna aggregate demand, and then we're gonna connect them to the local service person who's gonna actually connect. It's like there's too many people already trying to do that, and there's no differentiation. So kind of do the work, and the thing is, it's hard to find people who are willing to do the work. And when you're starting a company, one of kind of like my biggest talent insights is that you can almost never find somebody who's done it before who's willing to join your company. If they've done it before, then they're already too expensive for you, and they don't want to kind of get in on the ground floor and do it again, almost always. And even if you could get them on board, it's not necessarily a good idea, because they may not have anything to prove. It may be hard for you to work with them in a team dynamic, but they might be a great advisor. They might be a great mentor. And oftentimes, finding somebody who has potential and is willing to work hard and who has something to prove, and then pairing them with the mentor or advisor, is actually the best way, and the only way that you can build a team at like a startup.
Going to add that I think we were talking about this earlier, about collaboration being great, but also how collaboration can be bad in some instances. Like, one of the things I hate are meetings, like excessive meetings, meetings that are an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours long. They just are not productive. If you have a meeting and it's not, if everybody can't provide input at that meeting, or if everybody is not prepared to provide input at that meeting, that is an inefficient meeting. Meeting should be in half an hour, an hour. I think, and so that, I think that's, one of the ways like that collaboration can be hurtful for a company. If every other day you have the entire company talk about all the different parts of the company, it's not going to be very, it's not going to be very efficient, and you're not going to get a lot of stuff done. Aside from that, I have one other thought.